My father-in-law, Art Glazer, would use the expression, "You're as welcome as a spring rain." I never fully understood the meaning of that phrase until the spring of 2001. That was the year we didn't get any moisture. The previous winter had been mild, not a heavy snowpack on the mountains, going into the third year of a drought, and no spring rains. This is the story of the effect it had on us, and answers the question of why we continue to ranch. I came to the ranching community late in life. Born in the city, where the closest we ever came to a drought was reading about it in the newspaper, or seeing footage of a drought disaster on television. Water always came out of the tap, and a drought meant you watered your lawn on Mondays and Wednesdays. If you did otherwise, the fine was a slap on the wrist, not your livelihood. You didn't lose your home, your business, or go broke because of a drought. The old-timers say this is the worst they've ever seen it. Spring rains never came. The grass started out well enough, but never got the precipitation to make it grow. Water sources, springs, ponds, and seeps, ran at less than half the flow. It was hot early, and it stayed that way. No rain when you wanted it, no rain when you needed it, no rain at all. With what little water you have, you irrigate. You work twice as hard to spread half the water over ground that absorbs every drop like a sponge. Every flaw in your irrigation system shows up. Lack of water stretches the bonds of friendship between neighbors both up and downstream. You know you're in trouble when you don't have mosquitoes, and you're lucky if you put up half a hay crop. The ramifications of drought come at a high cost. The business decisions are extensive and close to becoming overbearing. Shortage of feed on the range affects the body condition and pregnancy rate of the cows. There are more open cows, which will reduce the herd numbers, taking years to rebuild. Lack of feed affects the milking ability of the cow, which in turn produces a lighter calf. The calves, which determine your yearly income, go across the scale with fewer pounds, reducing revenue. To compensate for lower hay production, what profit you have made will go into supplemental feed and high-priced hay purchases. Machinery that breaks down still needs to be fixed. Employees still need to be paid. Taxes don't disappear. Merchants still need to know the check is in the mail. And the crew is asking for a new truck and don't understand why we can't do it this year. You do not know despair until you've come across cattle in the heat of a 100-degree day, trying to drink out of a mud hole. You have to make sure the cattle have water, checking that troughs and spring boxes put in 50 years ago are still up and running. And you try to keep your cattle spread out over the range so they don't congregate on riparian areas. The best feed is always a long way from water. Add to this the increased risk of fire, the tension which you carry with you every day, that a vehicle's spark, a carelessly tossed cigarette, or a distant lightning strike can become your worst nightmare for years to follow. The conditions are ripe for a fire. When you see the smoke in the distance, you pray it's not on your allotment, but you know the consequences and you don't wish it on anyone else. You call in the sighting. You drive towards the smoke with wet burlap sacks and shovels, and you get to fighting the fire until help arrives. Frustration comes when you've had the worst drought in 60 years, tried to grow a hay crop with no water, dealt with severe range conditions, endured the threat of fire, have lower yearling and calf weights, spent all your profits on supplemental feed, and then to have some groups or individuals announce that you're not doing the right thing to the land, when they don't understand that we are people who are dictated by water. Our survival depends on it. Those of us who farm or ranch and provide food for a living are at nature's will. On a wet year, things are good. On a dry year, we suffer. The accumulation of these events places intense stress on families, employees, and communities. All it takes is one more small incident to make one start wondering, why am I doing this for a living? Then an event occurs which brings you close to the point of no return. The leach line to your septic tank collapses. It is summer and there is family, hay crew, kids and guests, and no bathroom. Before you can say Katie bar the door, there are 4 people by your side in the trench asking to help. The world's worst job, and here they are, wanting to help. This is when you take a step back and examine all the good that surrounds you, and you know why you stick it out. There's my brother-in-law, a physicist, known throughout his field, who comes back to the ranch every summer to help put up the hay. He's a lot like his dad. He stays cool under pressure, he's positive, and when he's finished cutting your meadow, it looks like a golf course. He brings his wife and kids, and suddenly it's cousins, tree houses, waterworks and mud, odd man out, and kids on their first horseback ride. It's about family. My stepdad comes out from San Francisco to help break the hay. He's the first one up in the morning, makes the coffee, first one out in the field. He's learned to judge cured hay and can repair just about anything. He's got that haying bug in him now, and it brings him back every season. We always hire a teenager to be the buckbreaker. With 250 acres of meadow and no telephone pole in sight, it's a good way to learn to drive. And although the kids dread it, for the haying season we bring a young girl back who knows how to keep the kids in line and to help with the cooking. Even though the men generally make the wheels turn on the ranch, it's the women who are the grease that make things flow smoothly. My wife works side by side with me. Whether it's pulling or treating sick calves, changing tractor tires, or paying the bills on the ranch. She has a maternal instinct that is uncanny. She finds time to help with 4-H, gardens in spite of the odds of frost, volunteers at the county fair, and stops to close gates on the way to town. She can weld better than most men I know. Everything about the ranch is important to her. It's in her blood. She gets this from her mother, who can spot cattle on the highway or the railroad tracks, and at 75, if no one's around to get them off, she'll do it herself. She knows where to order parts, get things repaired, and if she doesn't, she'll find out quickly. The ranch is a part of her soul. She cares so much for it. You ranch for her. My sons walk through the door of her house. She's baking something that smells delicious. They hug her. It's not as though they come to visit once a year and then leave for the city. They know her. And she beams with pride when they show their 4-H animals at the fair. She's a ranch woman with the heart of a mare. My wife and her cousin are the last ones running the ranch now. 135 years and it's down to them. Maybe if they were smart they'd pack the bags and cash it all in for the big check. But they don't. Something, be it family heritage, roots, the beauty of nature, community, or tradition, keep them here. So that's what keeps us here, is family. Knowing that there's a whole community that's affected by the same problems, that refuses to falter, to cave into pressures beyond their control. This is what makes all of us stay in ranching.